Oh, hi guys. So I'm in old Hillsbrad foothills at the moment, and I'm currently tanking. I'm a Fury Warrior, so I thought it'd be a good opportunity to basically talk about how you can tank even as Fury. So these guys are going to go...
I stay no longer.
I'm going to be aggressive in a sec. So what I'm going to basically do is I'm going to spam Demoralizing Shout and Battle Shout. I'm also going to spam Thunderclap. I've got Improved Thunderclap here. And hopefully with a Demoralizing Shout, these guys will attack me. Now, if someone sort of runs away, that's when I might use Taunt, for example. And I try not to use Taunt unless I actually need it. There we go, it was fairly smooth.
Did not ask for this.
Literally, spamming Demoralizing Shout will increase the amount of threat on everyone in the area. And it's actually quite effective. Obviously, you need to be in defensive stance when you're a defense warrior. Or when you're tanking, rather. Other tips, I would definitely say positioning is really important. If you stand closer to the enemies, they're more likely to attack you. And also, on my mouse, I've got it so that I can target the next enemy, basically. So you can kind of cycle through enemies if you need to. The other thing is mark up the tank where possible and basically focus most of the damage on the tank, build most of the threat, and if everyone does the same, because you are obviously defensive, you should hopefully get the most threat out of everyone. Now, it's not an exact science when you aren't actually spec'd for it, but you can still kind of tank. Like I say, Demo Shout is absolutely brilliant. The other thing I would do is I'd get yourself a nice threat meter.
You have given me hope.
Threat meter is going to help a lot, and if you don't have a threat meter, you can look at target of target. So, for example, if I click on one of my allies, you can see what they are targeting. You can do this with the enemies as well. So the aim is to generate as much threat as possible on as many enemies as possible. Obviously, tanking a single target isn't going to be difficult. The other thing that's really good for generating threat on a single target is Heroic Strike. Also, remember, basically everything you do will kind of generate some level of threat. So, you know, if you are healing or whatever, then you will probably want to try to, you know, not overheal at the beginning.
I will seek out my destiny.
And if you have a paladin in the group and threat's becoming a problem, you can get people to give you, or the other members of the team, salvation, which I think drops the threat generation by a third.
Come outside and face your fate.
Salvation is actually really, really useful. As a warrior, I use it continuously.
Life hangs in the balance. Surely you care. Surely you wish to save us.
So, also, bear in mind, we typically take out the casters first, because the casters can often do horrible things like polymorph or ranged attack, which is a bit harder to control. Also, remember your blood rage and rage generation actually increases your threat slightly. So you can use this as a warrior.
You and your troublesome friends must die.
So, for example, there, I waited until they attacked me to use my blood rage, which again created a little bit of threat. If things get out of hand, you can use War Stomp. Though I wouldn't recommend it unless you really need it or you need to stun the enemies. But it's useful if you are a Tauren. The other thing, of course, is as a warrior, you need to build rage, and rage will increase your threat a little bit. And that means that you want enemies to attack you, so get them to attack you as soon as possible. You can actually open with taunt if you want to. You're going a bit chaotic, but... And if there's an emergency, you can always use Challenging Shout, which I use there, just to demonstrate. I would also make it clear to everyone that if they get threat, what they should ideally do is run towards the tanks. If you run around like a crazy person, then you're basically not going to help anyone out. So, yeah, don't do that too much. Now, I think you only generate more threat from Battle Shout if you affect members who aren't currently affected by Battle Shout. So Demo Shout is a lot better, basically, because you can use it as much as you need to pull area of effect damage. Oh, the other thing I would definitely do is I would look up for macros for your particular character. So, for example, I'm a warrior. One of the macros I have, which I really like, is the special ability macro. So, as a warrior, we have a sort of 30-minute cooldown on an ability. In tanking, it is Shield Wall. So as I move through Berserker, Battle, and Defensive, my macro will automatically change, so I can pop it anytime I need it.
I will erase your very existence.
This can be kind of useful sometimes if, for example, you are tanking a boss and you're, I don't know, taking an awful lot of damage or more damage than you thought. You can obviously pop that, which I'm going to do now.
Not so fast, Mercy. You cannot fight me.
Of course, the other advantage of using Thunderclap and Demo Shout, apart from threat generation, is it does decrease the amount of damage that the enemy does. So that will also make them quite a lot easier to tank. And I guess whilst we're on the subject, have a look at Intercept. Intercept's really useful. If someone is taking a load of damage and they're going to die, you can intercept. That'll basically put the threat on you, and you'll absorb the next few attacks.
The master will not be.
Ooh, that's a nice thing. If anybody needs it. If not, I'm going to disenchant it. Somebody wants it. Perfect. Well, there we go, guys. That's the run. Old Hills, Bradford Hills. I know I kind of came in halfway through, but I wanted to talk about tanking.
What is it you wish? Goodbye.
Oh, I don't really care.
I will never forget your kindness.
One thing I would say is, if you're going to kill a boss, then you can actually get, oh, what's it called? Atlas loot. And, for example, I'm in Old Brad's Foothills. I can look at the loot table and I can decide in advance what I actually want from here. That's really useful to do because then you don't have the immediate rush of, oh, what do I do? What do I do? Do I roll on it or not? Because you've already kind of pre-planned what you want to do when certain loot drops. Anyway, guys, I guess that's pretty much everything. A few other tips for tanking, seeing as how that's the point. Obviously, there are two types of structures in the game. Solid structures and structures that enemies can shoot through. And you kind of learn the difference depending on well, just over time, basically. So if there is a solid wall, for example, people cannot shoot through that wall. This means that you can basically pull a load of enemies around a corner, if it's a solid corner, and all the ranged will have to run up to you and attack you in melee, which is good because it's easier to control them then. Yeah, there wasn't really any other things. I'm sorry about this crazy unstructured video, guys, but I thought that was a pretty good run, and I'll speak to you guys soon. Have a cool day.